So I've been lucky enough to get my hands on with almost every single watch that the Ciga Design watch company has to offer. But the one that I've been wanting to get my hands on the most is the Blue Planet. And finally, I've been able to get my hands on it. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. And today I'm talking about a rather special watch, a rather interesting watch, a watch that has captivated me. A watch that when I saw it first come out, I had to look at every single review that I could possibly find online. Written reviews, pictures, and reviews on YouTube. And every time that I did see a review or read a review, I thought, wow, what a cool looking watch, what an interesting looking watch, and what a well-made watch. And I thought it was going to be well-made because I've had hands-on experience with Ciga Design watches before, and they're all very well-made. Plus, everybody that had hands-on experience with it said, wow, this watch is cool, it's interesting, but it is so well-made. So when Ciga Design reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to check out the Blue Planet? Would you like to be able to add it to your own collection? Would you be able to wear it, enjoy it, and share it with your viewers? I said, yes, please. And that's why you would have seen that sponsored icon come up. And right now is actually a really good time to consider buying this one for yourself if you are interested, because there are some really good discounts going on. Now, I'm going to leave a link to the Ciga Design website down below, and I'm going to add a discount code that they provided to me that gives you guys a bit of a discount. So well worth checking it out if you're interested in buying one around this time, around the time of the release of this video. But now, in a first impressions style video, let's flip the camera around and let's see why it has stood out to me so much, and if it continued to stand out to me when I actually had it in hand. So here we have my Ciga Design Blue Planet, and wow, am I excited to own this one. And when it first arrived, there were 6 things that stood out to me, and number one, as always with Ciga Design, is the packaging. I love it. See how it's nice and thin? It can actually sit on your bookcase. Unfortunately, most other brands don't do this, and they end up sitting in my watch drawer. As you can see here, all different shapes and sizes. They're all great, but I can't really display them, so they just end up sitting in this drawer. And then when you open up the book, you get a nice picture of the Earth, a bit of a poem talking about the Earth. You open up, we're talking about the future of the Earth and global warming, some further information. And then when we turn the page, we get some more sort of writing and the specifications of the watch that are written there. But then the watch is displayed in a really cool manner. And the second thing that stood out to me is actually the color of blue that they're using. It is so much brighter and almost shimmering compared to what I expected. I had some expectations about this watch, how cool it would look, how interesting it looked, how 3D it would look, but I didn't quite realize the blue would be that awesome. It really is almost iridescent. Which then leads me into the third thing, is actually how 3D it is. I kind of expected the planet part of it to be 3D. I didn't quite expect the land mass of it to be as 3D. And more than that, I didn't expect all these sort of indices, numbers and markers to be 3D. So there's sort of lots of levels going on here, a lot of interesting 3D effect. And I really appreciate that sort of nature of sort of levels. Really gives watches in general some really cool features or some really good looks, and this one, it just works in perfectly. And something that I didn't expect to me, the fourth thing that stood out to me, is how lovely this strap is. Now, I'm not usually a huge rubber resin sort of a strap sort of person. I appreciate them, I don't mind them, but I don't really enjoy them. This one, it's the best I've ever experienced, both the look, the color, the design, but more the feel. And then you come onto the clasp, which is a really cool deployment clasp like that, which is absolutely amazing. The next thing to stand out to me, unfortunately, was this crown. I think it looks very neat. It's sort of very subtle, but it's actually it's a little bit difficult to hand wind. And this is a hand winding and automatic movement, and you can do it. I'm doing it now, but it's not the easiest watch to wind up, which it doesn't really bother me too much because I don't think this watch is really sort of built around that sort of feature of being super functional, certainly not super legible, so that really doesn't bother me too much, but it stood out to me. But the thing that stood out to me most is how much I want to wear this watch. I thought this would just be a very cool, very interesting, very well-made watch, something that I would sort of sit there and stare at and look at. I didn't quite realize how much I'd actually want to put it on my wrist. It is a very interesting watch. It's very, very well made, but I really, really enjoy wearing it. This has not been off my wrist since it arrived. Now there are quite a few different variations of this watch. I have the full polished version, which I wasn't sure if that would be the right version, but it seems to really fit in with this design. There's so much going on that shining, that sort of polished surface really seems to work for me. So it's all polished around the outside. You can see that dome crystal and you can see the earth sort of sitting out from underneath it, which is very cool. Display case back showing off that automatic movement. Quick release spring bars on those strap, which is really cool. I don't foresee myself ever wearing this on another strap, partly because it suits it, but partly because of what I've mentioned before of how good quality it is. That clasp is really nice and it is signed. This watch is incredible. I sort of expected it to be really good. I've watched every review about this watch. I sort of heard so much positivity about this watch, but really I couldn't quite understand how good it was until I had it in hand. And it is. It's remarkable. And although it does look different on wrist, because obviously this is a very different style watch, you can see it fits in really nicely in my sort of 6 3/4 or around about 17 centimeter wrist. Really does look good. Much different to what I expected it to be on wrist. I thought it'd be almost like a bit of a weird UFO on wrist. And I guess it sort of is, but it works so much better than I expected. And guys, you are going to have to stick around for the full review of this one because I think I'm going to have a lot to say. But whilst you wait for that one, maybe check out these 2 videos next.